Welcome to Olympian Water Testing, giving you the best in water analysis. Today we are looking at Health MN, where they did a study in newborns in the Lake Superior Basin. Now, why is this important? Because this can affect not only this location, but any location where mercury is high or women are eating fish or shellfish that are high in methylmercury. Now, this can affect fetuses, infants, and young children more because, as we said before, not all heavy metals are the same. While some copper can be beneficial or non-harmful, lead and mercury can definitely cause some issues in development and cognitive function. So what was the purpose of the study? What was done here? The main goal of the study was to see how much mercury newborn babies born to mothers living in Lake Superior Basin have in their blood. So that include fetuses, infants, and young children are most risk from the mercury exposure because of small amounts of mercury can harm the developing brain and the nervous system. The mercury measured in the newborns represents exposure to the fetus that occurred near the time of birth, and most mercury exposure to unborn babies occurs when the mother eats shellfish or fish contaminated with a form of mercury called methylmercury. So how was the study conducted? Well, while a newborn was in the hospital, a few drops of blood are routinely collected from the baby's heel to send to a state's newborn screening program. And these newborn screening programs test for a number of heritable or congenital conditions, and the mercury in newborns in Lake Superior tested the total mercury in blood left over for the newborn screening. And just to make clear, to be eligible, the mother had to reside in this location in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, near Lake Superior, and they found 1,465 babies were tested, and the blood samples were anonymized. So what did they find? What were the results? Most infants have found to have low or undetected total mercury levels. 8% of tested newborns had mercury levels above the U.S. EPA reference dose for methylmercury, a form of mercury found in fish. And in Minnesota, 10% of tested newborns had concentrations above the reference dose. That means some pregnant women in the Lake Superior region in Minnesota have mercury exposures that need to be reduced. And 3% of Wisconsin samples were above the U.S. EPA dose limit. No relationships were seen between the level of mercury and the baby's sex or urban or non-urban residents, and babies born during the summer months were more likely to have an elevated level of mercury. And this is because seasonal effects suggest the increased consumption of locally caught fish during warm months is an important source of pregnant women's mercury exposure in the region. So there are definitely elevated levels of mercury here. And this can also be in a region very close to you. And if you're eating a lot of fish and you know a pregnant woman who's eating a lot of fish and shellfish, and you might suspect that there's high levels of mercury, then it's always a good idea to have your water periodically tested to make sure the levels of mercury are not high so it doesn't appear in a newborn baby, infant, or children.